welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. In today's video, we're going to be speaking all about the Tamasaba Goldfish. Now, the Tamasaba Goldfish originated in Japan. It does look very similar to the Ryukin Goldfish and also the Sabal Goldfish, and we're going to be speaking more about this variety in today's video. Now, I have done some previous videos on Tamasaba, but they were quite a while ago, and I thought it'd be really nice to do an up-to-date video on this specific variety. Now, I do want to do another video on Tamasaba at Star Fisheries, but I'm just waiting for the right time for them to have some larger specimens in, potentially, for me to video and to look at close and up close and personal. But I have done lots of videos on the different varieties of goldfish that they have, and also the different varieties of goldfish that there are, like shabumpkins, moors, Ryukin, barbelized, celestials, pearl scales, ranchu, aranda, etc. The list just goes on. So without further ado, I'm going to get lots of videos on the screen. We're going to have a look at lots of different styles and different varieties of Tamasaba, and I'm going to put the links down below for where I got all of this original content from, the original content creators. All of their links are going to be down below because we've got quite a few different videos and it's quite an amalgamation of different content. And I always want to give a shout out to the original content creators and the owners of these videos. But without further ado, let's get some videos on the screen and let's check out some Tamasaba Goldfish. As I mentioned, we're going to see an amalgamation of some different content of Tamasabas. Now, in the video today, I really wanted to get quite a few different styles of Tamasaba. Even though the Tamasaba is a single type of goldfish, there are definitely some different styles, and I thought it'd be interesting to compare different pieces of content produced by different content creators or different owners of the footage, and just compare these Tamasaba to see how they differ. Now, on the screen in the first video, you will see we have quite a few captions from this original video, so you'll be able to read along and have a look at some sort of basic information about the Tamasaba, and I'm also going to narrate in the background as well to give you sort of a little brief information and brief discussion on the Tamasaba. Now, the Tamasaba, as you can probably tell, is a mix between a fantail and a Ryukin. Now, I would say this is not a rare variety, but is definitely a variety that is not often seen. And I would say in the UK especially, it's reasonably desirable due to its hardy traits. Now, obviously, the Tamasaba does get quite big, so sometimes they can be quite difficult for beginners if they're trying to keep them in smaller tanks, and they are quite adaptable to a range of temperatures, so they're most likely suited for large tanks or the pond environment. So the original Tamasaba actually came from the Niigata prefecture in Japan, which I have luckily enough been able to visit, and I did actually see some Tamasaba on my travels. Now, the Niigata prefecture area is really known for the koi industry, and there are a huge number of koi breeders around this area, and it is also known for the great Takashi Amano, if you know him in the aquarium industry. Now, the Tamasaba are also kept by koi breeders, and there are some breeders that breed them themselves. I believe Marushin Koi Farm and I think N&D also breed Tamasaba as well. And you'll notice that they're quite an interesting goldfish, and they're definitely a lot more different to the body shape and style of a koi. Now, you would think, right, if you thought these look a little bit like a Ryukin, a single-tail Ryukin, well, that is actually true and sort of where the Tamasaba originated from. Now, originally, the Tamasaba were formed by crossing a Ryukin with a single-tail Cyanide. Hopefully, I've spelt that or pronounced that correctly. Cyanide, which are now no longer available, and they're quite hard to sort of source. And obviously the Ryukin was from the Ryukyu Islands, which was formed in Japan, so that is originally where the Ryukin came from. So the Ryukin is still originally a Japanese fish. Now, generally you will find, as you probably see in the majority of this video, the Tamasaba is a red and white color. In Japan, the red is known as Beni and the white is known as Shiroji, and the red and white color is really important because obviously it is on the Japanese flag, and this color pattern is also named after in the koi industry as a kuhaku. So kuhaku is a red and white fish, and the Tamasaba also follow this trait as well. Now, there is not a massive amount of research and a massive amount written about Tamasaba, and there is not a huge sort of volume of online videos to see and view. So this is why I wanted to make another video on this type of goldfish, or on this variety of goldfish, to try and create a little bit more awareness around the variety. And as I've mentioned, I've used other people's videos and some different pieces of information I've collected on the internet. Now, obviously I have said that multiple times, but I just want to make that clear that I haven't personally taken these videos myself, and I'm just using a combination of different information just to give a nice little fact file on this fish. So there is also another type of goldfish which is very similar to the Tamasaba, and that is the Sabal Goldfish. Now, the Sabal Goldfish doesn't look that dissimilar from a Tamasaba. However, it has more of that smooth dorsal profile. You don't quite get the accentuated hump behind the head that you would generally see on a Ryukin and a Tamasaba, and the tail is also a little bit longer. Now, the tail on a Tamasaba can sometimes be referred to as a mackerel tail. You'll see the fish in the video now generally have a lot smaller tails, and I believe this is just due to different genetics and breeding, and probably just the way that the goldfish hobby is going. Trying to create smaller tails seems to be a bit of the fashion nowadays, and I would have said from my experience, the Sabal Goldfish has a longer tail, and the Tamasaba has a smaller tail and can also be called a mackerel tail, as it has a small forked tail similar to all of these fish in the video today. Now, you'll also notice some of the fish in the video are also calico or kirin, or otherwise known as koi Tamasaba. Now, this is fairly new to me. I haven't seen many of these fish, and I assume there has been some more crossing of the Ryukin type goldfish. Now, there are lots of different coloration and color forms in the Ryukin goldfish, so I assume there has been a little bit more crossing over the past few years, or maybe over the past 5 or 10 years, to get some different style color variations with the Tamasaba goldfish, rather than just the red and white. Now, we've gone over some of the colorations and sort of the body characteristics of a Tamasaba, so let's talk a little bit about their sort of temperament and how you would keep them. So, unlike Ryukin, Sabal and Tamasaba are absolutely perfect to add to your outdoor pond, and they are really good in unheated ponds at low temperatures. The single tails make them really agile swimmers, and you can actually keep them with koi as well. Now, I wouldn't keep any small ones with koi because obviously the koi may eat them, but if you've got some larger Tamasaba, anything above 6 inches, I would say, should be absolutely fine with most larger koi. Now, although they do have plumper bellies, the Tamasaba and the Sabal Goldfish, they are absolutely fine, and they are agile enough to get away from any koi, and they are sort of quite similar to a common goldfish in speed wise and hardiness, I would say. If you're comparing the Tamasaba in an outdoor environment, I would say similar to shabumpkins or common goldfish, they will do absolutely fine as well. Including the tails, the Tamasaba normally can reach around 30 centimeters. I would say your average Tamasaba will probably reach around 20 to 25 centimeters. I would say this is probably the average, and I would say minimum they're getting to at least 15 to 20 centimeters in the correct environment. But generally, if you're feeding them good food, and you will also see on the video there are some really large Tamasaba, generally they can quite comfortably get up to around that 30 centimeter mark, depending on environment. So now let's talk about where to get Tamasaba. Now, I found Tamasaba pretty hard to obtain in the UK environment and in the UK's climate. You will see on the screen we have quite a few videos from Koi Wholesale, and Ricky has actually imported quite a few Tamasaba, which you will see. I'm not sure if he currently has any because this was an older video, but you will see quite a few videos from him, so I appreciate him putting those videos out on Tamasaba. He's done a really good job. He's imported some lovely fish as well, so a big shout out to them. And also, I have seen recently quite a few at Star Fisheries. Definitely some smaller fish that would do great at growing on. Probably a lot more affordable fish that aren't going to break the bank or cost you a huge amount, but some really nice fish. And I'm hoping to see some larger fish in person person, so potentially I can do another video on them, seeing them up close and personal, maybe hold them up to the camera, showing them in an aquarium from the side view and also the top view as well. So as we come to the end of the video, you will see we have some really stunning Tamasaba on screen. We got some stunning colors. If you just look at the colors of these fish, they are generally snow white skin with that lovely deep belly, really tight sashi as well, which refers to the sort of color bleeding on the scales at the rear of the pattern. And you'll see that also the heads are slightly yellowish in color, and that can just be down to food, and that can change as the fish get older. But we're coming to the end of the footage, so hopefully you've enjoyed seeing these absolutely stunning fish, the different color variations, and what the Tamasaba has to offer. So that is it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, please check out the links in the description if you want to check out where the original videos came from. There are some absolutely stunning fish on the video today, and I absolutely enjoyed seeing all of the different varieties of Tamasaba, the different tails, the shapes, etc, etc. But that's it for today's video. If you do have any questions, leave those down in the comments section below. And if you do have any video suggestions, let me know down there as well. If you want to have your tank featured on the channel in our tank tour series or our Rate My Tank series, then you can pop me an email that is in the description down below, and we'll get your setup on the channel. But that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.